Hey, I'm Shana Meyerson with YOGAthletica in Los Angeles, California. Here today to talk about meditation. If you have maybe some stress, some anxiety in your life, hey, you're not alone. Almost everybody does. There may even be a chance that your doctor has recommended that you meditate. But I know from personal experience, meditation can be very difficult and it can be boring. But today I'm going to talk to you about how to make meditation easy, interesting, focused, and of course, beneficial to help you get rid of stress and anxiety in your life by using this tool, which I love. This is called the Lemofuto Smart Zen Garden. And I'll be talking about this throughout the show, but most importantly, I want to make sure that you feel comfortable becoming a real life meditator, like the kind that doesn't just say, oh yeah, no, I focus. I practice my meditation for 5 minutes every day, but like somebody who actually does, and your life will change because of it. I hope you know the benefits of meditation go beyond just like the focus aspects. Because not only, also, we all know that it helps to relieve stress and tension if you do it properly. Sometimes people get stressed out meditating because it's so hard for them. If that's you, be sure to stay to the end. You have to hear what I have to say about that. But know that when you have less stress and tension in your mind, your body actually also reaps the benefits. A stressed out mind creates dis-ease in the body. So we're talking about not just mental health here, but overall health. Okay, so I think that the problem why most people find meditation so hard is they're thinking about like the hardest form of meditation. Classic meditation is like a blank mind meditation, right? You sit, you close your eyes, you think about nothing. Now, that's extremely hard. Why? Because our minds were created to think, and not just think, but think a lot. And not just think a lot, but think all the time. I mean, even when we're sleeping, even while we're dreaming, right? Our minds are at work. It's pretty remarkable. So this is how we're programmed. And what we're trying to do with meditation is to close that all down, right? To take control over what we might call in yoga the monkey mind. It jumps from limb to limb to limb, right? So it's very, very hard to clear your mind. And in fact, it goes against your very nature. So for people who are starting off, it makes more sense, instead of working on trying to clear your mind completely, because it's almost impossible in the beginning, is to have a focal point. Okay, something to focus on. Now, some people that could be a candle, something that they're looking at. For some people, it could be a mantra, meaning closing their eyes and focusing on saying the same word over and over again. There's a lot of ways to create focal points to hone your focus in meditation. But today, I really want to feature the Smart Zen Garden because, oh my goodness, once I start looking at it, I can't stop looking. Let me tell you what's going on here. So this is a like self-driven Zen garden where you can pick a pattern. There's like, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 patterns. I had a snowflake, now I'm doing circles, and that will be replaced by something else when the circles are done. You could create a whole playlist of different patterns. So you can see on the right, you can see the actual snowflake. Now what we're working on is circles. Now, I always like to use anecdotes to prove just how well this stuff works because, hey, I'm making a video. Of course I'm going to say it works. for those who don't know, I also work with children, and I had an 11-year-old boy over here the other day, and he said, "Oh, what is that thing?" Of course, because there's a new thing in the studio. And I said, "Well, if you really are a good listener, I'll go ahead and turn it on for you later." Well, I turned this thing on in this particular boy who comes to me because he has attention deficit challenges. It was like he was hypnotized. He just could not stop looking at it and watching it. And it's hypnotic, it's mesmerizing. Now, that may seem like, well, what does that have to do with meditation? Well, if you're not super familiar with meditation, it's basically a self-hypnosis. It's reprogramming your brain to focus in a specific spot. I can tell you personally that it's not just these things. It's not just hypnotizing. It's not just mesmerizing, but it's deeply satisfying, right? So there's this metal ball, right, that's magnetic so that it traces these design patterns. And by the way, there are these designs I told you about. Some are super intricate, some are more simple, and you can pick the ones that you want, and you can make a whole playlist out of them. So when it's done with one, it will just start drawing over it and creating another one. Or you can, if you have artistic skills, which, by the way, I don't, you can actually create your own drawing and input it, and it will do that pattern for you, which is super cool. You also can pick the color of light that you want and the intensity. So let's say, especially if you're someone who's into light therapy, different colors have different effects. Now, a light blue tends to be a very calming color. That's why when you go to hospitals, you see a lot of light blue, right? If you wanted something more stimulating, maybe you choose red. But it's not just like you pick a certain color. It's a whole palette and the whole spectrum, just like you would see on your computer, where you could manipulate and create any color at all. So for me, like, the teal hues are what calm my mind the most. So I'm always playing with like the blues or the greens. So basically, if you wanted to meditate and you're really, really struggling with the blank mind meditation, again, this is what we all aspire to. This is what I aspire to someday, which is to sit for 10, 20 minutes and not think a single thought. Let's put this in perspective. In yoga, we have like different levels of meditation that are delineated in what's called the Yoga Sutras, right? This is sort of like the original text of yoga. Some people might call it the Bible of yoga, but it's not religious. And it says that, like, basically the first level of achievement in meditation, and keep in mind, in order to make it into the Yoga Sutras, this is some serious stuff. In order to get to the first level of achievement, you have to be able to keep your mind all the way still and quiet. Ready for this? For 12 seconds. 12 seconds. This means that if you are like a full-on yogi, you have accomplished something if you could quiet your mind for 12 seconds. That should really, really, really put this concept in a proper framework. So, at what point have you reached like the grand poobah of meditation? Well, you're a master meditator if you can keep your mind still. How long do you think? How long do you think it would take for you to be on the pathway to actual enlightenment? Knowing that 12 was the beginning, you would think, I don't know, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, an hour, right? And then I'm like on my way to enlightenment. The answer is no. If you can keep your mind all the way quiet, meaning not a thought, for 12 12s, okay, that's 144 seconds. It's what, about 2.5 minutes. Then in yoga terms, you have arrived. I mean, that's pretty remarkable. And the reason I'm pointing it out is to explain to you just how challenging blank mind meditation is, even for a highly practiced meditator. So for a basic meditation, for a beginner, you want to, again, find a focal point. Make sure you're sitting in a comfortable cross-legged seat, okay? I have a video that explains these, but basically I would choose Sukhasana, easy pose. That's what most people are going to be in. For me, Ardha Padmasana, half lotus, is the most comfortable, or for some, full lotus is no problem at all. Now, keep in mind when I say no problem, I mean you need to be able to sit like this for 10 minutes or so without discomfort. Now for me, I can do this no problem. I can do it in a headstand. I can do it in a shoulder stand. I can do it in a handstand. I can do it sitting. But it's not super comfortable. So for me, I prefer half lotus. Okay, so you want to pick the thing where you can sit comfortably and tall. Okay, in the Yoga Sutras, they say sthira sukha. You want to be like consistent and easy when you practice. Okay, so actually goes for asana practice too, by the way. So you get a comfortable seat, but not too comfortable, because you always want to be sitting up tall. I know it's a lot more comfortable to just sort of lean over. Okay, so you want to use some muscles. You want to sit up tall. You want to have nice posture. In your hands, I like them resting in my lap with the palms up. A lot of people prefer to do a mudra. Either way, you just want to make sure that you're in a place that, again, you can stay still without getting antsy, without getting itchy, without getting uncomfortable, okay? Because in meditation, you shouldn't be scratching itches if they arrive. You shouldn't be moving your hair if you feel like it's in the wrong position or it's tickling your face. You shouldn't be adjusting your clothing or any of the things, okay? You want to sit all the way still, all the way tall, okay? And in a classic meditation, we close our eyes. Why do we close our eyes? Is to block out the sensory input from the outside world, right? So the main input is vision and hearing. Now, short of earplugs, it's hard to block the hearing, but mentally, it's very easy to block out sounds. We do it all the time when we're watching TV and someone's talking to us and we're just focusing on TV and it's like there's no one else around us. That's a form of mesmerization. That is, I would almost argue, a form of meditation. So you sit tall and you sit still. I prefer deep breathing. It's not always necessary. But if you take deep, rich ujjayi breaths, which is basically, simply put, sighing with your mouth closed. I have videos on ujjayi. I'm not going to get into that today. But that is also, like, think of it as double calming, because the breath itself calms you down. And then the tool, in this case, the object of my meditation, will also create calming brain patterns for me. So a more advanced meditator, you will want to probably close your eyes. But for this kind of meditation, the focal point meditation, meditation made easy, sit up tall and you take your chin just a little bit down and eyes point down as you watch the metal ball going around and watch the patterns. Now notice I say watch. It's best if you don't think about it. If you're trying to meditate and you're like, wow, how does that ball do that thing? How does it go around in circles like that? Oh, look how the reflection of the lights are reflecting right on the ball. Oh, I like that pattern. Oh, I want to run my finger through that pattern. As your mind is scrolling through these thoughts, this is what meditation is working on, is to get rid of all the things, all the thoughts, all the noise inside your head. So instead, what we want to do is simply observe, as if I had no thoughts, no connection with what's going on, but just watching the patterns, watching how the ball is moving, noticing with my eyes, but not thinking about it. Now, once I get to that stage where I am trying to focus and not think, keep in mind, thoughts will come up. Remember, we already talked about this. Our minds are trained to think all the time. So the next step in meditation is see how quickly you can catch yourself thinking and then just let the thought go. Okay, don't finish the thought. If it's a problem, you're not going to solve the problem. The problem will still be there when you're done with meditation, fortunately or unfortunately. Your job is, it might take that you're thinking for a second and you're like, oh, I'm thinking again, and you let it go. Sometimes you might be thinking for minutes before you realize that you've been thinking again. That's okay. Don't judge the process. But as soon as you feel yourself or notice yourself thinking about anything, including how cool this Smart Zen Garden is, once you're thinking instead of simply experiencing, you're just going to try to tell yourself, let the thought go, and just try again to come back to that blank space. Again, having a tool like the Smart Zen Garden really, 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 really helps. Okay? I can't put enough reallys into this. If you find getting your mind still a real challenge, this is the easiest way. Now, another thing I love about this, which is surprising, is that it's utterly silent. I mean, you could hear, there's no noise. When I see a product like this, I would sort of expect there to be like some sort of buzz or electronic noise or something, which, by the way, would really annoy me, particularly if I were trying to meditate. So this is absolutely silent. And for anyone who's concerned, it's also very energy efficient. I know, as somebody who has a lot of these devices, not these, but different devices around my house that are cool to have, they tend to use so much energy that they're not worth turning on. This is super energy efficient. And by the way, not just for meditation, it's great on a coffee table at a party. Everybody will wind up just staring at it. But it is, again, in any context, utterly mesmerizing. Now, what's interesting about what's going on right now, I know you can't see as much here, and I'm actually looking at a totally different pattern than what's going on in the video, is that it's creating concentric circles, but they're scalloped. And so it looks like it's spinning almost. The actual design, it's got these, I don't even know what to call it, like these arcs that spin like this. And so now I'm thinking too much, which again, I'm not supposed to be doing. Okay, so just to rehash, in order to meditate, if you find meditation really hard or really boring and still get all of the benefits of a meditation, you're going to sit in a comfortable cross-legged seat, sitting tall, okay? Sitting still, having your hands in your lap, on your knees, whatever place feels most comfortable for you. You could theoretically, people always ask me, can I do it with my hands in namaste? You can, but if you do this for a long time, your arms will likely get tired. And I know it sounds crazy. You really want to not move at all in meditation. It's one of the parts of meditation that's so important because it's proving that you have full control over yourself, over your own body. And anytime you find yourself slumping, you just sit up tall again. So again, you drop your chin a little bit and you find the object of your meditation. Try to observe without thinking. If and when thoughts come up, see how quickly and completely you can let them go. And honestly, if you want to get the benefits of meditation, the mental, the physical, the overall stress relief, anxiety relief, this is all you need to do. And the thing about this is you're actually not going to want to stop. You're going to have to be torn away from this once you start meditating with this Smart Zen Garden, because I can't say enough words about how amazing it is to watch, how soothing it is to watch, and how it really, really takes me away from my day, away from any thoughts, responsibilities, and of course, away from any stress and anxiety, and instead into this space of tranquility. Now, 2 things if you made it to the end. 1, questions, leave them in the comments below. I always answer them. 2, I promise I had a special message for people who think that they're really bad at meditation. Again, I've been there. I get it. Here's what's amazing about meditation. The actual process of meditation is just simply being in a state where you intend to focus, to meditate. It's of observing, and if thoughts come up, it's about letting them go. The more you practice, by the way, the more space there will be between the thoughts. But if you say, I'm going to meditate for 5 minutes today, and you sit down and the entire time you're struggling with your own mind, trying to get it quiet, trying to get it still, well, believe it or not, that is meditation. In the beginning, meditation is just going to be the effort of quieting your mind. In the end, there will be more and more success at quieting your mind. But like yoga, meditation does not judge. If you're trying it, you're doing it. This is Shana Meyerson with YOGAthletica in Los Angeles, California. Comments, let me know. And if you want your own Lemofuto Smart Zen Garden, I'm putting a 10% coupon down below. It's a gift that keeps on giving. Happy meditating, my friends. Namaste.